do have 4-month-olds in the hallway there. Yeah.
No problem at all.
I got. My wife's not home right now, but our big dog is clip-clopping outside the office door right now. So don't be surprised if you hear him whining.
No problem. Like I said, this is free form. It's chaos. So, hello everybody, and welcome to the Low Budget Interview Show. I'm your host Eric Smith, and I'm running out of ways to introduce my guests, so I'm just going to say I have two very special people here with me today. First up, he is an author from Pennsylvania who apparently lives with, I'm looking at my notes here, lives with a cavalcade of animals. Wesley Southard.
It's very true. We have, 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a turtle.
Okay.
Yes. We have a lot of fur babies.
All right. My second guest is also an author from Texas who hates social media. I feel like this is a dating game. It is Lucas Mangum.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. All right, I always like to put people on the spot right off the bat. So we're going to start with Lucas because I'm just going in alphabetical order right now. If you had to introduce yourself to the viewers, if you had to write your author bio right now, what would it say?
Yeah, so I am a 2-time Splatterpunk Award nominee. I live in Austin with my family, but I am San Diego born and Philadelphia raised. And I've got lots of books.
I feel like you should have to apologize for being Philadelphia raised.
Probably. I say Philly, but I'm actually Bucks County is my actual.
Close enough.
Close enough. I agree.
All right, so Wesley, same thing. If you had to write your author bio right this moment, what would it say?
I am the Bram Stoker award-winning author of The Rising, City of the Living Dead, Ghoul. No, I'm just joking. That's Brian Keene. I am the Splatterpunk award-winning author of Cruel Summer, One for the Road, Resisting Madness, Where the Devil Waits, a few other books I'm blanking on right now. I live in South Central Pennsylvania. Not from Pennsylvania, though. I'm originally from Indiana, so I do not call Pennsylvania my own. I just live here.
I feel like I should have listed some books too, but that's okay.
I've got a good stack.
Holy crap!
Hey, look at that!
So
Damn.
we can talk about some of these. I actually have more, but they're buried somewhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to dig them out. Slaves to Gravity.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Wesley and Summer Cannon is somewhere over there. Horrorama.
You could say it's somewhere out there, too.
Yes. My shelves are completely full, and I have, I think, 11 stacks of books on the floor.
Oh, wow.
So it's sometimes difficult to find what I'm looking for.
I'm running out of room on my shelves, too. I had to actually get a new shelf, and that's out in the hallway for, like, my old paperbacks, like my old, just, like, mass market size paperbacks. But, like, all the shelves around me that you can see, I've got, like, 2 over here, 1 over there, these 2 here, and then the one behind me, and then I've got my brag shelf over here next to my desk, and I'm just really running out of room. I don't know what I'm going to do because my office is already kind of small, and once I run out of room, I'm going to have to start stacking them on the floor, and that's just I don't want to do that. I'm not a floor stacker.
Yeah.
I hate doing it, but it's my only option right now.
Yeah.
Once I went to, I love going to used bookstores when they have like the stacks on the floor where they don't even have enough shelf space. I don't know. I actually think there's something weirdly romantic about that. Like you gotta, I don't know, do a lot more diligent searching.
We don't have a lot of used bookstores around here where I'm at. Basically, half-price books is it around here, and I miss those just sort of mom and pop.
Oh yeah,
bookstores. Anytime I visit a city or a state, one of the things I absolutely do is find the used bookstores and go.
Same here. I'm going out to Kansas City in a couple of weeks for Crypticon Kansas City, and I'm going to be tabling with author Wiley Young, and I'm getting out there a day early.
That's a good dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're we're getting out there a day early on Thursday. We're gonna find the best barbecue we can out there. That's my goal because I'm a fat guy and I love barbecue. And we're gonna hit up all the used bookstores we can until it's time to go to the hotel. So yeah, those are my plans. I love finding new bookstores.
Yeah. Absolutely. I actually just not too long ago, again, this half price books because that's all I've got. But I found a hardback copy of the Bachman books.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I got that too,
Cool.
actually.
I have the paperback version, but you can't tell because there's black duct tape on it because it's falling apart.
Well, this isn't in the greatest condition, but I was very excited to find it. Probably the worst decision of my life ever was ages and ages ago, found an original paperback copy for 50 cents.
Ooh.
And did not pick it up.
Oh.
Of just Rage or of the 4?
Rage, just Rage.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I was
That's
not
gotta be worth a pretty penny now.
Fan. Yeah, it's painful just to think about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to start with some controversy, something that's been on a lot of people's minds lately.
Uh-oh.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Ugh.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I
was like, dude, I don't want to do this.
No.
There's a reason I hate social media. I was okay with it back when I used to eat Hawaiian pizza, but I don't really I haven't had it in years, so I don't know. I'd probably hate it now.
All right, and from Wesley's reaction, that was a big no.
No, sauce and pepperoni, man.
Something my brother and I used to do when we worked at the warehouse, we would always get pepperoni and anchovies. We'd split a pie with pepperoni and anchovies. And the reason why, if you can tolerate the taste of anchovies, the reason why is because no one else can, and so nobody's going to ask you for a slice of your pizza.
I guess that's a good trick.
Worth it.
Yeah, like you said, if you can take it.
I was gonna say if I need to find like a friend divorce lawyer or something. Good Lord. Ugh. Anchovies. Come on. Man.
All right, Wesley. I think yesterday on Twitter you had some child rearing questions. I said that I would answer for you.
Yeah, I think I don't think people realize that like 90% of the shit I put on Twitter is like me just laughing as I'm tweeting it because I'm thinking, okay, this is really funny, and then I think people take me way too serious and answer me way too seriously, and I'm just like, guys, this is a joke. Like, this is obviously a joke. I'm talking about like how soon is too soon to show my newborn Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm just thinking like everybody's gonna think this is funny, and everybody's like, oh, 5 or 6 years old or 10 years old or 12. I'm just like, guys, this is just laugh. It's funny. It's being silly.
Exactly. Well, it's like Lucas said. It's sometimes social media is just. Yeah.
Well, I feel like Wesley uses the internet the way it's supposed to be used. Like it is a joke, and then like people are all serious on there, and I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
My life is serious enough.
Yeah, but you see it all the time. Someone's making what I think is an obvious joke. And that first or second responder is just explaining why they're wrong or why it's, that's not how you should do it. And it's like, obviously it was supposed to be a joke.
That's Twitter every day for me.
Oh God. Or even if you just mention that you've like are going out for drinks later, you inevitably get someone who like you've never interacted before going like, I think you're an alcoholic and you need help. Like, and I'm just like, God. I don't know you.
Wow. Maybe we should all just quit social media.
I'm telling you.
I would. I've thought about it, but I can't. I can't. I have to use it for obviously for the writing and stuff, but I also live like 12 hours away from my side of the family, so I have to stay on to keep in touch with them, and especially now that I have a baby on the way, I have really no choice but to be on there to kind of keep in touch and with my family and stuff like that way. So yeah.
Well, to be fair, like, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, have kind of gotten more selective, at least in terms of Facebook, because, like, I do see, like, people, like, in our position who will just have, like, their inner circle on Facebook, and they won't use it for like writing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't complain about it too much. One, I've had some pretty decent opportunities because of social media.
Yeah.
I've co-hosted a couple of podcasts. I got to write for a short-lived horror magazine. I think they only had 4 or 5 issues. I got some stuff in there. I've been on publishers' review lists, so gotten free books to review, which I don't do anymore because I want to just review the stuff I want to review. And then I get to do things like this because I saw that Wesley had tweeted, "Hey, we have this new book coming out. Who wants to talk to us about it?"
Yeah.
So, I can't complain too much, but sometimes, yeah, it's depressing.
It can be fun. It can be a lot of fun, and it can also be really depressing. So, yeah, it's just kind of have to kind of take the good with the bad with it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And to answer your question, Wesley, I think in utero is when you want to start your kids on horror movies.
I thought so.
Yeah, I mean, I think they explained it pretty clearly in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, right? I mean, that's what that movie's about?
Yeah. And you know what's and you know what? Weirdly, that's actually like one of my absolute favorites of that series. I cannot explain to you why. I know it's like one of the most hated, and yet I love Nightmare on Elm Street 5
so much. It has an incredibly cool look.
It does. That's one of the things I love about it so much. It's got this weird like gothic look to it that none of the other ones have. Like the asylum looks like a gothic castle and shit. It's really neat.
Mm-hmm. And it also has one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most horrifying scenes. The scene where he feeds her to death.
Yeah.
Some people thought it was funny, but for whatever reason, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. It really got to me for some reason.
I've always been kind of partial to Super Freddy. I like Super Freddy a lot. That is just super dumb, but I love it. It's so stupid. But I do pretend like Part 6 doesn't exist. I hate Part 6 so much.
I could even find reasons to like Part 6. I love Freddy.
I hate. Oh, look, Freddy's my guy. Freddy. I mean, look, I got a freaking Freddy change bank on my thing here. I love Freddy, but I hate Part 6 so much. Part 6 is the worst.
I wish they would have explored the childless town more. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, but that childless town had Roseanne and Tom Arnold in it. So I don't want to go into that town too much.
Look, that's the risk you take when you become a pop culture icon like Freddy Krueger. Like you end up with Alice Cooper as your dad, God,
I forgot about that. Wow, I forgot that Alice Cooper was in that. Weird. Ugh. Okay.
Isn't Part 5 the one? I don't know if they're credited, but didn't John Skip and Craig Spector write the screenplay or take a pass? I don't know exactly how much. I
believe it was that they took a pass on it.
Like the first draft. Yeah.
I think like the general idea of that movie was theirs, but I don't think they're credited. That I remember. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I believe the story idea of it's credited to them, but the script itself, I don't believe so.
You can find that script online.
Yeah, you probably can. I mean, I've actually got the novelization of Part 4 and 5. It's in a single volume, and it was actually written by Ray Garton. Ray Garton actually novelized, yes, but it was under his pseudonym from the 90s, Joseph Locke. So he like when Garton stopped kind of doing his like mainstream horror like he was doing, and like the kind of the horror market kind of fell out like in the early to mid 90s, he started writing young adult stuff.
He did.
Under the name Joseph Locke, and he had kind of a little series, and he did a bunch of novelizations and stuff. Nobody knows.
Can't hardly
wait. And the funniest one is he did Good Burger. Nobody knows that he wrote Good Burger, and that's fucking hilarious.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Remember when there were that many novelizations for like everything? Like that was wild, man.
Yeah.
I used to have the novelization of the Mortal Kombat movie.
No, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the original Mortal Kombat. So good.
I got to interview Ray Garton for that short-lived magazine.
Oh yeah.
That I wrote for, and we talked a little bit about novelizations, media tie-ins, and I think Good Burger came up.
Nice.
I'm a huge Ray Garton fan. He's one of my all-time favorite writers. I love that guy's work so much. I've got every book of his on my shelves behind me. He's such a huge inspiration. But yeah, it's really funny that when you learn that he wrote like the novelization of Good Burger and Can't Hardly Wait and Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5, and yeah, it's pretty crazy, like the kind of stuff some of those writers had to do like in the mid '90s whenever the paperback, the horror paperback market like completely fell out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny to me because I was reading like the White Wolf's World of Darkness stuff and a lot of media tie-ins and things, and then I would discover an author and suddenly wait, I've already read this person because they wrote a Buffy novel.
Cool.
They wrote something for Vampire the Masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
James A. Moore, Christopher Golden.
Yep.
Yvonne Navarro.
Yep.
And
Tim
Ray
Wagner,
Garton.
Tim Levin. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Speaking of novelizations, like this is kind of that was kind of how this project started, right?
That is a great segue. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
All right. Well, I was gonna wait, but do you guys want to jump into it?
I mean,
we could follow your
perfect.
pace.
It was too perfect of a segue not to, but I mean, we can do whatever you want, man. It's your show.
All right. Well, the collaboration between the two of you. I did not take a note of this, but the final gate.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I had that. And it's a Lucio Fulci homage. How would you characterize it?
More or less, yeah. So I guess sometime kind of late last year, author Brian Smith was on Facebook and he made a post that said, if you were to write a novelization for a horror film that didn't already have a novelization, which one would you do? And he was like, I would do this one, and it's just a long list of all of our peers that were just like, oh, I would do this one, and this one, and this one, this one. And I was like, oh man, I would have to do Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead. It's my favorite Fulci movie. I love that movie so much. I feel like I could do a really good job of kind of explaining the weirdness of that movie and explaining the stuff that maybe, in my opinion, maybe should be elaborated just a little bit more. The stuff with like Bob and Bob and stuff like that. I feel like I would do a really good job at that one. And then Lucas came on and said, "Oh man, I would love to do the one from the Beyond. I know I'd be able to do this and that and this and that." And then he and I started going back and forth, and they're going, "Oh man, like, yeah, if you did it, you'd have to do this, and if we should write something, like if we were to write a Fulci thing, we would have to do this, and we have to do this trope and that trope." And it was fun going back and forth like that for a little while. And then I think like maybe a couple weeks later, I was sitting and thinking about it, and I was like, man, God, it would be fun to write like a Fulci story that doesn't exist, like a lost movie in prose form. And I just thought, man, that would be so much fun. I kept thinking about it, and I was like, man, I should really do this. Like, I should do this. And then I thought, but like, I want to do it with somebody. And Lucas, the first time Lucas and I met, he actually said, like, literally right before he left to go back home, he goes, man, we should work on something together sometime. And I was like, yeah, we should. And then I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, we should write something together. And this is like the perfect thing, because I know he's a huge Fulci nerd like I am. So let's do this. And I talked to him, and kind of pitched sort of a small idea, and there comes the dog. Hi, buddy. So now I lost my train of thought. So, yikes. Sorry, stupid dog. So I pitched them idea, and then we kind of went back and forth of what we wanted to do, and then I just did it. Just wrote the first section and sent it to him, and he would write a section. And we didn't have like certain parameters for like how many words, like a word count or something for each chapter. Like, and it's not even really chapters. I mean, we kind of just wrote sections because, like, I think early on we kind of decided that we wanted to do not necessarily to be read like a chapter of the book. We're thinking more of like we wanted to do like a screenplay, but not as a screenplay, like kind of like you were reading a movie in prose form, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have chapters, it just has section breaks. So it's just reading. So you got like the first section, and then you actually have like a title page, like a title credits for a movie, and then scene to the end. So yeah, it kind of, the whole thing plays out more or less like a Lost Fulci movie. And now my cat just jumped up on the desk.
Oh man,
the cavalcade of animals, everybody.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's kind of what we've got now, and it's a lot of fun to write, and Lucas and I felt like our voices really blended really well because I wasn't sure what it was going to be like because I mean I've worked with two other people in the kind of recent past, and you always hope that your co-writing stuff works out well, and it's going to work out well because you hope that your voices are going to blend well. And I think our voices blended very well, and we were able to just bounce off back and forth to each other and go, yeah, that would work. And what if we did this? What if we did? Yeah, that's awesome. Like it was just so much fun to write this thing.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's an homage, is what kind of helped us mesh the voices well because like we both had a very clear vision. It wasn't something we had to really hash out. We were like, okay, we've seen these movies hundreds of times. Like, What do we want? What do we need? We need soupy zombies. We need like really thick atmosphere. We need kind of clunky dialogue. We need fog. We need wind. We need all this lovely. We need eye gougings, And so we just kind of had this kind of. I don't know. We never like made a physical one or even a digital one. I guess we just had it in our heads. Like we had this board of like things that we wanted to do,
Yep.
Great. Well, all right. Full transparency. The only Fulci movie I have seen is City of the Living Dead.
Great one.
AKA The Gates of Hell.
Yep.
And it blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
The music.
Yes.
The atmosphere. The effects when I always feel it's a young woman who pukes up in the car. That was just amazing. I absolutely love that film. And
the music is a big part of that movie, and that's the one thing I love so much about Fulci's his early horror films is because he was working with a composer out of Italy named Fabio Frizzi, and they collaborated on Zombie, City of the Living Dead. I can't remember if he did The Black Cat or not. I don't think so. But The Beyond, he did not do House by the Cemetery, although a lot of people do think he did. He did not do House by the Cemetery, but he did Manhattan Baby, and I think that was the last one he did. But yeah, that's Fritzi and Fulci kind of go hand in hand in that era because they were so synonymous with each other, and almost to the point now where Fulci's been dead since 95, 96. But Fabio Frizzi's still alive, and he actually does a lot of tours in the U.S. where he will bring like a big projection screen, and he'll play scenes from the movies, and he will actually play with his full orchestra band the music from those movies. He's actually coming to Baltimore next May.
And dude, you got to go to that.
Oh, I'm going. Believe me, I'm already going. I'm going. But I can't wait for that. But yeah, that's the one thing I do love so much about the Fulci films is they are just like, no pun intended, like dripping with atmosphere. They're so atmospheric, and they're so. I mean, you could kind of just smell the movies, and you can feel them, and they're like, I know there's a lot of people that are like hardcore Argento fans or hardcore Fulci fans and stuff like that. I personally have never been much of a Argento fan.
See, I love both.
See, I have tried recently to get into Argento. I just recently watched Phenomena. It was okay.
Dude, that scene in the end where she's like drowning in the soup with the corpse is so good.
That was cool.
So good.
Cool. But then the end with the monkey, like, I don't know. That was kind of ridiculous. And then I tried to watch. Oh God, you're gonna kill me for saying this. I tried to watch Suspiria, and I couldn't make it even halfway.
Oh no!
It was brutal, man. That movie is nothing but just pretty lights and music.
Ouch.
It is not. That movie is nonsense. That movie is absolute nonsense. But then you could say the same thing about Fulci's.
You can, and that's the thing. Like a lot of Italian horror, it took me a lot of like. It's weird to think that I'm such a big fan now because when I saw a lot of these films, Fulci's movies included, when I was a teenager, I was like, "What's the big deal with these. Like I was like, okay, like the the puke in the guts is pretty cool, and then in Suspiria, I was like, the opening death scene is pretty cool, and the music's pretty cool. But then like I don't know, subsequent watches of Argento and Fulci, I was like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, see, I didn't see the movie Demons until like 2 years, like just a little less than 2 years ago. And my first watch of it, I was just like, okay, yeah, this is fine. And then I watched it again about a year later, and I was like, holy shit, this movie rules. Like, I love this movie. And then I've seen it so many times now, and I'm just like, some of these movies just like they will hit me hard. And then there's some of them like the Argento stuff that just like, this movie is just a lot of pretty colors, not much else. Like, I don't know. That's just me, though, I guess.
That's fair.
I've got a slight segue. I don't know if either of you are into comic books at all.
A little.
There's a comic book, the last issue. It's a miniseries. Last issue just came out called Stray Dogs, and it's about it looks like a Disney cartoon. It's talking dogs, but they've all been collected by a serial killer.
Oh dear.
Who's killing women and taking their dogs home. And they're realizing that their life isn't what they think it is. But there's been 5 issues, and each issue has had a variant cover that was a movie poster. So the first one the variant was Silence of the Lambs movie poster. This last one was Friday the 13th. But the one that really struck me as them digging deep was they did Demons.
Oh, cool.
I think I have seen that, actually. I think Chris Triana sent me a picture of that about a month ago. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. The scene where they're walking up the staircase with the glowing eyes. Yeah.
Actually,
I think I've seen that picture.
Let's have people just watch me on my phone. Well,
That's all right. I was trying to Google it myself. I couldn't find it. Well, I'll figure it out later.
I have a picture of it somewhere in my gallery because I take pictures of them and post them on social media. But yeah, I thought that was like a deep pull.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the other covers that they were doing.
Yeah.
And I was very excited by that.
That's awesome.
All right, so for people like me who've only seen the one Fulci movie, although I've seen plenty of clips, I know a bunch of different stuff. Well, not like you guys, but different things for Fulci. But for people like me who've only seen one or maybe haven't seen any, what would be can you give us a Fulci primer? Or is that too difficult?
You mean like a film that would be a good start?
Just, what makes a Fulci movie? Or at least what are the few standout points that he always has, maybe? Or, what would be a good place to start?
Go ahead, Lucas.
I would start with Zombie because, like, that's like a very
that's the gateway drug.
It is, and like, cause it's like, I don't know, it's like maybe voodoo zombies, but maybe just traditional zombies. They don't really explain it, and it's fun. It's got like a zombie fighting a shark. It's got really pretty locale, and it's got a great score by Fabio Frizzi. But yeah, that's the gateway drug because like when you're ready to ramp it up a little more, like obviously The Beyond and City of the Living Dead are where it's at.
Yeah. That's I still remember seeing Zombie in high school. My buddies and I were big horror fans and zombie nerds at the time, and I'll never forget watching Zombie for the first time and seeing the zombie versus shark scene. I was just even in 1979, that was just mind blowing because this wasn't CGI. This is a human being fighting a real shark underwater.
Yes.
It was done by a budget Italian horror movie crew. Like, it's insane how they did this. And that movie really is, like, I've got it on 4K now. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, hell, I even went and saw it. I drove 2 hours away to the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania to go see it at a drive-in about a month ago. And it was just still amazing to watch on the big screen. But that movie's incredible. It's so much atmosphere, the music, just the visuals, the zombies themselves. Honestly, my personal opinion, the best looking zombies you will ever see on a movie screen.
Oh, hands down.
I love Romero and I love Savini's work, but honestly, I've never been a big fan of the way any of his zombies looked in his movies. The movies are amazing, like Day of the Dead, one of my all-time favorite movies, but I never thought that his zombies looked that great. They looked fine. Honestly, I think Savini's best work with zombies was his Night of the Living Dead. I think his zombies Night of the Living Dead were great. But Fulci's zombies in Zombie looked phenomenal because they're not walking with their hands out. They're not falling over themselves. They've been kind of described as imagine a sleepwalker.
Yep.
They're walking very slow. Their heads down. Their eyes are closed. Their eyes are almost always closed, and they're just shuffling along. Period. Until they're right on you. They don't seem dangerous until the moment that they're on you, and then they're on you.
And they just look gloomy. It's just these sad, ugly things that are just
they look like reanimated corpses, more or less.
Yeah,
they look about the best you can ever see. If you've never watched Zombie, I would recommend watching Zombie. It's on Shudder. It might be on Amazon Prime, more than likely, but it's definitely on Shudder. I know Shudder has the main Fulci movies on there. Give it a watch. It's a good watch, but man, the zombies in that movie are phenomenal looking. Every time I see it, I think, God, why am I blanking on the special effects artist from that movie that just died recently?
Oh, I don't know.
Kick myself because the guy that did the special effects for a lot of his movies, especially Zombie, just passed away recently, and I'm kicking myself.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Getting his name. But yeah, they look amazing in that movie. It's just this really hard to compare them to anything else.
Yeah.
All right. I should have taken more notes. There is a comic book publisher who's doing adaptations.
Yeah, Ebon Press. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Have you looked at any of those, or?
I've looked into them. I'll be honest, I'm not crazy about the artwork in them. The artwork's kind of a little over the top for me. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous considering the movies we're talking about. Yeah. I don't know, the artwork is a little too bombastic for my taste as far as the subject matter it's going for. I love what they're doing. I love that they're doing these things and they're keeping the kind of spirit of these movies alive. I love that so much. But they're I don't know. I've looked at them and I'm just I wish I liked these more because otherwise I would buy them in a heartbeat.
So I didn't look at them at all because I'd wanted to do a Fulci tribute for a very long time, and when those came out, I was like, motherfucker.
But they're just comic book versions of the movies. That's all they are. They're not continuations or anything. But
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
I haven't seen them in person, but I've seen shots of them online, like pictures of the inside, the interiors of them. Yeah, they're literally just a series of comics that are just the movie in comic form. So it's almost like a graphic novel in just separate issues.
Oh.
Yeah. It's definitely not like we did.
Well, what can you tell us about The Final Gate without giving too much away?
Well, I actually have the back cover copy here I can read you quick. Okay, so here's the back cover copy for The Final Gate. Something is terrifying the residents of St. Luke's orphanage. Gurgling moans echo through the hallways. Hulking shapes lurk in the surrounding woods, and those who wake in the morning will find one less child under their roof. Brandon and his girlfriend Jillian believe his younger brother is in serious danger. Even though the caretakers of St. Luke's told them that he's been adopted, Brandon has his doubts. With the help of a friend and a mysterious guide, they will do whatever it takes to find out what is happening inside the orphanage walls and at the bottom of the basement steps. From Splatterpunk Award-winning author Wesley Southard and Splatterpunk Award-nominated author Lucas Mangum comes The Final Gate, the ultimate tribute to Italian horror master Lucio Fulci. With blood, guts, and all the nightmarish madness that you'd expect from the godfather of gore himself, Southard and Mangum present a loving homage to spaghetti splatter and the glory of 1980s Euro horror. So that's the official back cover copy. But yeah, it's like it says. So I definitely want to get one thing kind of straightened before like this book comes out. I haven't seen this come up, but I just want to make sure that people understand that this book is not like fan fiction. This isn't like us taking existing characters and writing them into different situations and saying, "Ooh, isn't this wacky?" Like,
No.
this is a like I said, like we said before, this is sort of a continuation, not a continuation, an original idea using his tropes and using the kind of stuff that he would see in his movies. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's similar to what I did with Ryan on Pandemonium, which was our tribute to demons and also hardcore wrestling. But
right there.
Yeah. Thank you for buying that.
I think you can just say loving tribute.
Yeah,
is what it is.
So like we called it the Final Gate because you've got what's now considered. I don't think they were considered this at the time necessarily, but now is considered the Gates of Hell trilogy. So you got City of the Living Dead, then The Beyond, then House by the Cemetery. Even though I kind of have a hard time calling House by the Cemetery part of that, it doesn't really fit the bill.
I would call Demania part of that.
More or less, yeah. Even though it's a god awful movie, it's so bad.
Love Demania.
It has a few moments, but it's the wishbone scene's cool.
Yeah, I mean, when I say I love Demania, like that's probably the only scene I remember. So I'm like, oh, the wishbone, that's great.
It's a rough movie. But yeah, so this is kind of our like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was one more movie in the Gates of Hell series, just one more?
Because in the Beyond, they say there's 7.
Yes.
7 gates. So, we figured let's just skip ahead to the 7th.
Now, is the picture, the cover that's been going around on social media, that's the cover?
Yeah. So when we were kind of pitching ideas to Mark, the owner of Encyclopocalypse, Lucas and I were kind of talking about what we wanted to see for a cover because even we were kind of unsure of what we wanted to see. So we kind of shot him a picture of the Beyond, the one that's the kind of well-known cover for the Beyond that's actually on like the Blu-ray case. So it's very like a lot of reds and greens and dark blues and stuff. So that's what he came out with was the cover that we have now, and I think it's really cool. I really like it a lot.
Did that image originate with the Anchor Bay DVDs?
It's possible. I'm not really sure how old that artwork is. I don't really know if there's like any official artwork. Well, no, I take that back. There's that old Italian one where it's like Capture on a Call and then like that weird like beast man behind her with a knife to her throat. That's kind of the beautiful thing about those and that guy actually just recently passed away too. They actually passed away like on the same day, him and the special effects artist, and I drive me crazy. I can't think of his name.
Is it a weird pact and now it's going to open the 7 gates of hell?
Yeah, right. But no, the artist.
Sorry, too soon.
The artist that did a lot of that artwork, I guess if my understanding is correct, never really saw the movies before he did the artwork, so he kind of just created them just on kind of what he thought they would be. So that's why a lot of the artwork for those films are weird. Like if you look at like the City of the Living Dead one looks really cool because it fits, but like the one for the Beyond doesn't fit whatsoever. It's just like the main actress, Catriona McCall, like her screaming with like a guy standing behind her with long hair and what looks like a lion's face, and he's holding a knife to her throat. And if you look at this, you're like, oh, that's crazy. And then you watch the movie, you're like, what the fuck is that? It's not even in this.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with House by the Cemetery. The original poster art for that has her on the ground in front of the house, and it's got like a guy standing over her with a big blade and like long hair again, and you're just like, this isn't even in the movie. What is this?
Yeah. A lot of them had like crazy alternate titles too. I mean, that was like an Italian thing, because I mean, even Zombie was called Zombie 2 over there because it was pretending to be a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. I think the original title for the Beyond is
Seven.
If I'm not mistaken. Well, that was the American title.
Oh, that's right.
The Italian title, I believe, is just Afterlife. I think.
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken. I think it translates to Afterlife. But yeah.
My favorite fucked up alternate title is not a Fulci film, but it was one of the many masterpieces co-written by Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso, who are the Lennon McCartney of trash cinema. And they did a movie called Shocking Dark, but it was released in Italy as Terminator 2. But it mostly just rips off of Aliens.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
As long as it's staying in the James Cameron canon, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think I've seen scenes from that.
Yeah. It's great. It's fun.
But I love the cover for The Final Gate.
Thank you.
And that back cover copy sounds like a Fulci film with an orphanage and, what's at the bottom of the stairs. And,
yeah.
So when does this come out?
August 3rd. We just figured it out the same day the new Stephen King book comes out. So hopefully everybody buys it and the new King book. Or our book, and you can put the King book aside for a
Stephen King doesn't need the money, and we do. We do.
Definitely grabbing yours.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, is it up for pre-order yet?
It is.
The ebook is right now,
Yeah.
Yeah. Paperback will be up to date. Well, yeah, the paperback, the way Amazon is set up with their publishing system is, for whatever reason, they don't allow you to put up paperbacks up for pre-order for whatever reason. There's a reason why, but I don't understand the reason. I've been told a few times. I don't get it, but they let you put up ebooks for pre-order first. But yeah, the ebook pre-order is up right now. Paperback will be up the day of release. So,
all right. Well, I'm definitely picking that up. And Stephen King, I can find at Walmart.
That's true. That's true.
That's or Barnes and Noble. I'll get to him.
Yeah.
I mean, you
can find him at Costco too. I was at Costco today and I saw all the mainstream guys. I saw him. I saw David Baldacci and James Patterson.
Oh,
yeah, we need to get in Costco. How does that happen?
Well, I think the Final Gate's going to be sold at like Christian bookstores, isn't it? Isn't that what we were told?
Wait, really?
That would be amazing.
Lucas, come on.
Look, I had to make sure. Look, man, like. You're good. You've got a good deadpan.
Is my sense of humor like that bad?
You've got a talent. You've got a talent for deadpanning, which means it tricks me.
Just put a slightly different cover on it.
Yeah.
For the Christian bookstore.
That's true. That's true.
Very true.
I don't know if it's a recent trend or if I just missed out. But there seem to be a lot of these sort of lost movie books nowadays. I have one that I can't remember the name of that's got 4 or 5 stories in it that are it's a studio that's supposed to be Hammer, but it's not. And it's,
Screwdriver.
What's that?
Yeah. Screwdriver.
I think Mallet Films.
I want to say Christopher Golden and Tim Levin are in it. But it's like 5 novelizations of these movies by this studio.
Yeah, that's actually real recent. I know what you're talking about now. It's got kind of a very multicolored cover and stuff to it. Yeah, I can't remember who put that out, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's a British publisher.
It's not PS Publishing, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe. I have the hard copy somewhere in one of these piles.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Rabb had Camp Ghoul Mountain Part 6, a novelization, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that title sold me, and now you're double selling me. So I'm like, all right, that sounds good.
And he's actually got 2 things going on. There's the novelization of this 6th movie in a slasher franchise. Which you could just read those chapters and you're reading a cool novelization of a movie.
Yeah.
But then there's also behind the scenes chapters.
Oh, that's
cool.
And so
that's really cool.
There are things that are kind of almost like director commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Different things.
Man.
And even sort of includes himself, because there's chapters about how he came to write the novelization of the movie.
Dude, I need
That's
this.
so cool.
Jonathan
Yeah,
Rabb, if
that
you're
was-
listening,
All
you
right.
have earned a reader for life, I think.
See,
That
and
was
that's kind of
fantastic.
something that Lucas and I were going for with the Final Gate. Like I said before, we really wanted to make this seem like you're reading a film, and there's I don't even think there's necessarily a title page in there. It just starts off with the story, and then we actually have kind of a title page like right after like the first section, and it's actually in Italian. Like if you watch the Beyond, the very beginning of it, there's an Italian script like right after the first section happens, there's an Italian script that has like it says like a certain phrase and then it says dot 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 the title, like the Beyond. So we kind of did the same thing. Like I wrote a little thing in Italian at the beginning of it, and it even says like written and directed by Wesley Southard and Lucas Mangum in Italian in it and stuff. And even at the end, we put like the end in Italian, just stuff like that. Like it's just we really wanted to make this like as I guess Italian as possible, like with what we're going for. But yeah, that actually sounds really really cool. I like what he did. That's neat.
I need that.
Yeah, I really dig that kind of stuff. All right, is there anything else you want to say about the Final Gate before we maybe take a look at some of your other stuff?
Lucas.
No, just remember the date, folks. August 3rd. It's gonna be a fun one. It's and even if you're not familiar with Fulci, it is still I think it's still a pretty decent horror book. So check it out.
I think we forgot to say that author Ryan Harding wrote an amazing introduction to this book, and I think the introduction it is so pin perfect with kind of laying out the history of Fulci's movies and kind of what to expect from each one of those movies, and then going forward with our book, like kind of laying out stuff. And he did an amazing job with being able to kind of lay out the fact that like you don't have to have seen you don't have to have seen any of these movies to be able to read this book and enjoy it. And granted, if you have seen them, it definitely makes the experience that much better. But I think Lucas and I made sure to make it to where if you have not seen these movies and you're just reading this without any prior knowledge, you're going to be fine. You may not get every single reference, but if as long as you can just read it and enjoy it, and that's fine. But if you have read or seen these movies, and you're going to get the references, and it'll be that much better. But Ryan's intro definitely helps with the kind of introduction of leading up to the story to be able to be like, okay, I think I have a baseline knowledge of what these movies are, so now I'll be able to go into this and not feel like I'm lost.
And,
so
yeah, and if you're still lost after that, all you need to know is that no eyeballs are safe.
Nice. And who's the publisher?
Encyclopocalypse Press. Publishing.
Publishing.
Okay.
Encyclopocalypse Publishing. Sorry, Mark.
All right, we're causing trouble already. All right, let me grab this.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
Stack of books here. All right, well, I almost made a horrible faux pas. I was going to talk about how Wesley has collaborated before. We mentioned earlier the book with Summer Cannon, and I have here somewhere. Where is it? Where the Devil Waits.
Yep, that's the new one.
So that's another one. So I was going to talk about how he had collaborated and that Lucas had not, because I forgot that I had.
Yes.
The one with Ryan Harding. So was the collaborative process, I'm not sure how you guys will answer this, the collaborative process between the two of you different than when you've collaborated with other authors? Or do you keep the same process no matter who you're working with?
So for I would say for Pandemonium and for the Final Gate, it was similar, like, because again we had like a vision, going in, and a very clear vision, because these were we were paying tribute to things that already existed. And so it was, I don't know, kind of easy breezy, just we'd write a few thousand words, send it back and forth. And that was my experience with Ryan as well. With this one, it was just, there was a point where we were like, when we did something that I hadn't done before, but I actually want to do that on not just my collaborations going forward, but like on all my projects going forward. Is when we reached what we believed was the halfway point, we made a list of everything we had set up, and therefore said this is the stuff that we need to pay off in the second half of the book. And I just thought that was a really smart way of writing. I mean, not to pat ourselves on the back too hard with that, but it definitely helped like us. I mean, we like, because the first half we like kind of, we got through it and we did it, and then but the second half I feel like we like burned through that, and I think it was because of that, like we kind of had that list of like what we needed to kind of wrap up.
This project, I think it was a blast to write. I had so much fun writing this book. But yeah, it's like he said, it was very easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Getting through this, I normally, with my own like solo stuff, I'm an outliner. I'm a plotter. I can't pants my stories just going by the seat of your pants. I can't do that. I have tried it so many times. I found that I don't like doing it. It's not that I don't trust my spontaneity, but I'll put it this way. I have a day job where I have to use maybe less than 1% brain power all day. I work on a forklift, so all I need to know is don't run into shit and don't kill somebody. So when I'm on my forklift, if I'm not unloading a truck, I have a notebook with me, and I sit and think of my stories, and I will outline my stories from beginning to end. Now, I'm not writing like lines of dialogue. I'm not writing like the book from beginning to end, but I outline, I'll put, chapter 3, and I'll put exactly what I want in this chapter. So that way, that night when I go home, I can sit and look at that and go, okay, that's where I need to go. And I go and I plug in everything and I do everything I got to do. That's how I work. But I think with like he said with this, like when we got to the halfway point, we both said, yeah, we need to figure out, what we have all these things leading up. We need to figure out how to pay them off. And yeah, it worked out perfectly. But like with Where the Devil Waits, Mark came to me with like more or less a finished outline. So that's what we did. We worked off of his outline and kind of went back and forth, like a couple chapters here and there, back and forth. But then like Slaves to Gravity, I was kind of outlining my chapters. I'm not sure exactly how Summer was doing it, but like we were just going back and forth chapter to chapter with that book. So like I wrote the first chapter, she wrote the second, back and forth that way. And I think it's pretty much that way the entire book, except for like one chapter in there where I think I wrote a chapter that was like way too long, so we split it into two. But yeah, that's the way that process worked out. That was back and forth, and then Lucas and I were kind of back and forth with like just larger sections. We were just like, okay, write whatever you got to write, and then just send it back, and then I'll write whatever I got to write and send it back like that. So yeah, everything's always different. All three of them were very different for me, but they've all been enjoyable. They haven't been like pulling my hair out or anything. So,
all right. First of all, I just want to say I am an authorized forklift driver. I work in a factory, and I've every year got to take the little test, move this pallet from there to there.
Yeah.
But I don't drive it very often. But all right, cool. I like that. Let's see. Oh, I could be completely wrong about this, Mr. Mangum.
Yeah.
Did you or did you not say something about maybe a follow-up to this?
Yeah, it's in the works. It's in the works. I thought I was ready. It's not ready.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
all right.
Basically what I was reading through it, and I was thinking about like, surprise releasing it or something like that. And then I just was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, there's a lot of cool stuff here, but it needs some connective tissue. And so yeah, I'm kind of little by little working on that to kind of, yeah, I even have a cover. Like, I mean, I've like it was ready to go, but yeah, it's
well, yeah, I love that cover.
Thank you. That's Jim Eggpal's a great artist.
Yeah.
This is the first of yours that I read. I'm a Deadeye Press fan.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, if I don't have anything specific I'm looking for to buy, I'll just start looking through Deadeye Press books to see what there is.
It's a good rule.
Yep.
Yeah. I do that with a few publishers. I'm a publisher fan as well as an author fan.
That's great.
That's great, man.
And let's see if I can
Yeah,
find.
you can't go wrong with Deadite or Grindhouse, in my opinion.
Now let's
Very
make
true.
sure. Yeah, I'm also a cover artist fan now.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
That's Justin Coons, man. He's the man.
The
He's the man.
splatter westerns
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like this. And I
Yep.
actually just got a book today. Donnie Goodman.
Oh yeah, Razor Blades in My Head. Yeah,
Yes.
his collection. Yeah, I actually
What a
blurred
great
that one.
title.
Yeah.
What a
Absolutely
great title.
love Justin Coons.
Yep. He's a great guy.
And it's, I think people can look at this and I think this is beautiful.
That cover has sold a lot of books.
his work is absolutely beautiful. And
yeah. I remember pitching him that idea for that cover because we all, like me and Jared and Patrick and Justin were in like a Facebook chat trying to, like, I was telling them what I wanted to see for the cover. And I threw out a couple of ideas and they weren't really into it. And I was like, okay, what about one where like a guy is just screaming and he has hands that are just coming out of like the outside of the picture, like grabbing his face and pulling. And Justin was like, oh yeah, I think I could do that. And I was like, but just don't like, this could be like very over the top, like very like bloody and gory. And I was like, I don't want to go for that. I want to go for just like pain without the gore. I was like, this has to look cool, but not be a complete turnoff to people. That and just, man, I will never forget when he showed me the first sketch, just the initial sketch for that. Oh my God, I was at work. I had to like park my forklift and like walk outside and look at it. I was like, I was like breathless. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. Like, this is insane. He did the whole cover and he was just showing update after update after update, and I was just losing my mind. And then one day he goes, I'm going to send you guys something. I want to see what you think. And he sent what turned out to be a VHS box, is what the whole thing looks like. Yeah. And I was looking at that, I was like, holy shit! Like, I was freaking out. I was like, you gotta be kidding me! This is amazing. And he was like, yeah, man, like, that's awesome. And we kind of did a couple tweaks in there, like at the bottom of the thing where it says like the runtime, where it says 1 hour and 29 minutes, 1987. I had him put 129 for my birthday. In January in 1987, so like 129/87 is my birthday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. But like that, and then the 3 pictures on the back too are pictures that I got to pick out. The middle and the bottom one were just like the eye, the reptilian eye, and then the plane at the bottom were like stock pictures. But the picture on top of the little boy is actually my wife's friend's son, who modeled for me with the goggles on for the main novella in there, Resisting Madness. So he's playing like the little boy wearing the goggles, and we had to like take a bunch of pictures and get like the right one. And yeah, that whole layout is just like, every time I look at it, I'm like, God, I can't believe this is my book. This is insane.
Yeah. Just his artwork is amazing, and I always love the worn look that a lot of books are doing now, and the VHS look that this has. Just the style of them, just speaks to me. I'm gonna pick something up, pick up something like this. Yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of picking things up, I just got a Boinking Bizarro today, and didn't realize that Lucas had a story in there.
I do. It's a little different for me. It's more of a, it's comedy almost. It was. Yeah, we had basically the concept of that anthology was we had to choose a classic piece of literature and kind of sex it up a little bit. And I chose Paradise Lost, and I retitled it Paradise Lust. And instead of John Milton, my pseudonym was John Milfton.
I've heard some of the titles and the names that they redid in that book. I was dying laughing at some of them, man. God, it was funny. I think John Wayne wrote one. He did a Shel Silverstein one. I can't remember the title that he gave it, but he said Shel Silverpeen or something like that. Yeah. I was fucking crying at some of that stuff.
I liked Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's just out of reach. I can see it just over my computer.
That's an Egpalza cover as well. Jim Egpalza did that cover.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Max Booth III did a Zoom thing for the release of Jurassic Christ.
Yeah.
And
Michael Rose's book.
I want to say it's Jessica McHugh who did a reading from her story, which is The American Psycho.
Okay. Oh yeah. I forget
what it's called.
I forget what the title is too, but yeah, it was funny. They're all funny.
Yeah, she did a bit of a reading, and it was that. It was already on my radar, but that was what I was like. Yeah, I'm getting that book. Absolutely.
And Chandler's was Ernest Humpingway.
Well, just Max Booth III, Tit by Stephen King.
Tit.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
That's right.
Yes. Let's see. That was from. Is that Death's Head?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Death's Head.
Yeah. Okay, so I ordered some stuff from Death's Head because they had the pre-order for Joe Lansdale's chapbook.
Yeah.
And I can't just buy one thing.
No.
So I got that. Not. I got a book by Christine Morgan and
Visceral.
Dude, that's a great book.
Yeah,
that's a great book.
I can't remember
Patrick
the
Harrison.
third, but I can't remember.
Patrick Harrison.
And I got this.
Hey, look at that.
I still love that cover too, man.
That was okay. So that cover came out of Alex McVeigh did the cover of that, and that was the cover for the Thunderstorm hardcover. And after we did that cover, again, it was sort of the same thing where we were emailing back and forth, and he was like, "What do you want to see?" And pitched him a couple things. He was like, what else you got?" So I kind of described to him what the antagonist of this story looks like in the middle of his change. He was like, "Okay, cool, I'll do that." So I was like, "All right, cool." I was like, "I'll see something in a month." I think a day and a half later, he sent me damn near the final result of that cover, and I was just, again, I was at work, and I was like, holy shit, like I had to stop and walk outside and look at it. I was like, this is insane. This is utter perfection for what I was going for in this story. And when we were doing the cover for Death's Head, the paperback and ebook, I was like, Jared, we got to keep this cover, man. I showed it to him. He's like, oh yeah, that's the cover there. That's what
the
we're
one.
Do. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to see another cover for this book. So that cover is perfect. Just perfection. I love it. The only difference is we had to put a different name and title font at the bottom just to kind of differentiate. But yeah.
Well, that's going to ask. Is there ever a problem porting, for lack of a better word, the cover from one publisher to another?
It's not something that happens a whole lot. I know, like it's happened a few times with Thunderstorm. So I know. Paul Gobler from Thunderstorm, he puts a lot of time and money into really, really good cover art for his stuff, and I've noticed that a few of the authors have been able to take those covers over to their paperback publisher to do the same covers, and I don't blame them because the covers that he helps put out are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like if you're an author in that situation, ask permission beforehand. That's definitely appreciated. Yeah. I know. I asked Paul if we could use that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking." And but it was kind of an unsaid thing that we would get the original artwork without the title font, because we would have to make the title font different, and that's kind of like an unsaid, not a rule, but kind of an unsaid thing. So yeah, we had. I believe Lori Michelle, who does all the interior for Death's Head stuff, she was able to put a new title font on the book. So yeah, that's what's on there now.
She's credited with book layout.
Yep.
In there. Now this says copyright 2020. Did it come out in 20 or did it come out in 21?
Did it say 20 in there?
That's what my copy says.
Oh no, I mean
I don't know if you can see that.
Well, I mean, it was written in 2020, but it came out, like, well, the hardcover came out from Thunderstorm in, like, September of last year.
Okay.
And then the paperback came out on, like, January 5th of this year. So, yeah, it technically came out this year.
I didn't think I was that far behind, and then I saw the 2020. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I don't. I kind of wish that said 2021 in there, but oh well.
It falling down on the job.
Yeah.
I keep glancing over at the bookshelves because I have some Thunderstorm stuff.
Thunderstorm's great.
And I always tend to, whenever I'm like a dog. Someone mentions an author, I start looking at the books. Mention a publisher, I'm looking over here. But I'm listening, I'm paying attention.
No, I'm sorry, my cat is about to vomit on the floor right now. Good Lord.
Feel free to step away and take care of that.
Yep, there. He just went and he just puked all over my bag. Cool.
All of our cats are outside cats.
Yeah.
We have an inside dog, but outside cats.
Yeah, so I have a neighborhood cat that comes to my house a lot, and it's great. But like, one thing you don't take into account is if you have mulch in your yard, you get something called dog vomit fungus. If they like pee in your and it looks like the fungi of Yuggoth or some shit. Like it is really, I didn't know what it was the first time I saw it, and I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, it's literally called dog vomit fungus. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, let's see. Just to grab random books here. We've got this one.
Oh, that one's special to me, man. That one's special to me. I've wanted to write a dinosaur book forever, man, and that one took me a few tries. That one, as fun as that book was, it was actually really hard to write. It took me a few years to come up with something that I thought was good enough. A lot of rewrites, and I don't normally do that. Normally I just do like revisions, but not full rewrites. But in that case, I did like multiple rewrites.
Is there a particular sticking point, or?
Yeah, basically, long story short, giant monsters are hard. Because there's a lot of choreography, and I just wasn't, I don't know, I guess, experience, I just wasn't ready, to write something on that, scope, I guess.
All right, well, it seems, not that I've read everything yet, but it seems different to me from what I am familiar with from your writing. Was that a conscious effort to do something completely different, or again, just, hey, dinosaurs?
Yeah, it was, I just wanted to try something a little more fun. If I'm often accused of, not having enough levity in my books. And I get that.
This isn't funny? Come on.
No.
I love that book.
Or
thank you.
Or this one?
Yeah, that's another one that kind of flew under the radar, but I wish more people would read.
You do have a lot of publishers here. You've got Death's Head Press, Sinister Grin, Grindhouse, another publisher I love. And they're
Grindhouse.
Relatively local. I'm in Ohio.
Oh, cool.
And then Madness Heart. Hard for me to read that. Madness Heart Press.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned, Deadite before. Again, is this a conscious effort to spread yourself out?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's you're working with the smaller presses. You gotta just like, yeah. I mean, they're basically, you just want to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And I mean, I would say even that with bigger presses. Now that I'm like, like thinking about what I'm saying is like, I mean, I don't know. You don't know who's going to be here tomorrow, Yeah.
Well, yeah, I interviewed Mary San Giovanni the other day.
Yeah.
And we did talk a little bit about leisure. And
so, yeah, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, I think Wes and I were coming up when all that was happening.
Yeah, I kind of credit leisure as being one of the reasons why I write.
Yeah. So, I meant specifically the downfall of it all.
Yeah.
It's like when we were starting to like really get the writing thing seriously, at least for me. Like, and that was who I was aiming for. And then I saw those updates on Keen's website, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I guess I should stay away from them.
Yeah, my novel, The Betrayed, I was writing as like if I was writing a leisure book. Like that was my leisure book.
Well, I do know I've spoken to some people who were writing for specifically to sell to leisure, and of course it all fell apart.
Yeah.
I know there were authors that I think had multiple book contracts, but it fell apart after their first book, and they never got those other ones.
If I'm not mistaken, like everybody who didn't get their rights back, like Amazon owns all those now, right? Like is that how that works? Like Amazon is technically their publisher?
I'm not sure about that. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think everybody's more or less got their rights back. I can't imagine, like,
I'd say now, because it's, like, been 10 years, but, like, yeah, I meant, like, initially.
Initially, that's possible. I mean, of all the authors that I know that worked with them, I think everybody's got their books reprinted for the most part. I think, I think Brian Smith, there's a few of his books that were with Leisure that aren't in print right now, but I think most of them are back in print through Grindhouse. So yeah,
I know the Freak Show came out not too long ago from Grindhouse.
Yeah, the only ones I'm thinking that aren't are like Soul Taker, I think, or is that the name of the book?
Soul Taker. Yeah, again,
Soul
I'm looking
Taker,
over at my leisure.
Deathbringer, yeah, Soul Taker and Deathbringer, I think are the two that are coming to mind that aren't in print right now that I'm aware of. I could be wrong.
Brian Smith has the coolest titles.
I think House of Blood just relatively recently came out.
I think so. Yeah.
House, perhaps.
Yeah, that was last year, I believe. Yeah.
But yeah, like what Lucas was saying about the spreading yourself out. I mean, Keen's been telling me for years, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's. I hate to say this, but you never know what's going to happen with small press publishers. I mean, I've been around. Do not start crying right now, please. See, I told you the dog would start whining. I really wish my wife would come home. God, you got me off subject, buddy. I've been buying books regularly for, in the small press for like 15 plus years, and I've seen so many small presses come and go in that time, just countless, and so many of them were so great. I wish they were still around, and some of them were not so great, and they're not around for a reason. And now that I'm publishing with so many of them, I've never wanted to just stay with one, because if something happens and they're gone, you're out of print again and you have nothing. Right. So, and not to mention, like, it's also kind of, I know this maybe not be the right way to say this, but this is the way I'm going to say it. It's kind of a fun challenge to see how many you can work with, and kind of say, like, okay, that's the next one that I want to work with, and that's the one I'm going to try to go for next. Like that's the one I want to. That's the one I want to check off next to get with. So, I think for me personally, it's kind of a fun. It's not, maybe challenge isn't the right way to say it, but it's kind of a fun challenge to see, like, that. Like, I have stuff in mind for future releases that I'm like, all right, that's the next one I want to go to. I want to get that one. So. Yeah, it's spreading yourself out and not staying all bunched up into one place, because you just never know. You never know in this business.
No.
Well, I can see that challenge that you're sort of talking about with, you look in your Death's Head Press. I really like what they've been doing. I want to see if I can get in there stable. Grindhouse, I like their style. I like what they do. Let's see if I can get in there as well. And there seem to be a lot of really nice small presses that I'm not on the inside. They seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
At least staying afloat, hopefully.
I think about 10 years ago, we saw kind of, unfortunately, an implosion in the small press, because they're not unlike what they were having today with most of the small presses today are just paperbacks and ebooks. The very few that are left that are still doing hardcovers are, Thunderstorm, Cemetery Dance. Is Gauntlet still putting stuff out? Gauntlet, I think. PS Publishing and Earthling, I think. Is Earthling still around? I'm not even really sure. I haven't seen anything from Earthling in a minute.
I feel like I might have just gotten an email from them.
It's possible.
Were they the ones doing the Halloween series?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I got a couple of those books, actually. there's not, I think there were so many of them, like 10, 11, 12 years ago. There were so many of them.
Saturated.
It was so saturated, but they were all amazing. Like, some of my all-time favorite books are from, like, Bloodletting books and Delirium and
Wow.
Cargo Cult. Oh man, Necessary Evil.
These
God,
names just
Necessary
bring
Evil.
back memories.
Right. And doesn't that make you sad? Because you're just like, God, I want to work with some of these so bad, but they're just not around anymore. But there were so many of them that were doing hardcovers, and a lot of them, there were so many of them that just weren't selling out, and these publishers couldn't afford to do these hardcovers now. And there's so little of them, but there's so many presses that are just doing paperback and ebook, and they're doing well doing that because they're not having to, I don't know, hold on to inventory, I guess, and they constantly have to try to push out inventory. All they're doing now is uploading files to Amazon, and it's a POD, print on demand, so it's not like they're having to keep a lot of stock in their houses, I guess. So I think we're in a fortunate time right now because the publishers that we have right now are very good, and they're doing well, and they're putting money into cover art and layout, and it's a good time right now. It wasn't that way for a long time, but right now I think we're in a pretty good place. I would like to see more hardcover publishers, limited edition hardcover publishers, kind of come out and kind of do their thing again. But I don't know.
There is a market for it, and it's still there.
There is a market for it. There really is. Unfortunately, I can't. I can't buy them the way I used to, unfortunately, because
exactly.
When I was buying them, I wasn't married and I didn't have a kid on the way. So, but there for years, I was damn near bankrupting myself, week after week, buying Bloodletting and Necessary Evil books. So yeah, I wish some of them would come back, but I just, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I do have a bunch of limited edition stuff from years and years ago. Now it's got to be something really, really special for me to be able to do that. I do think probably my best prize, I have the limited edition Haunter of the Threshold by Edward Lee.
I'm looking at it right
gold.
Now. Yeah, I don't have that one, but I have the Jack Ketchum Lucky McKee, the woman from Morning Star. Yeah, it's up here in the top. I can't see it right now, but yeah, I have that one.
Yeah, this one, the Edward Lee's got a snakeskin spine and everything.
Cool.
And I always say, I'd never buy anything that I won't use or read. And I had every intention of reading that copy until I actually saw it, and I was like, no, that snakeskin's just going to come apart. So I do have a paperback copy that I have read.
Yeah, Morningstar. They only did. I think it wasn't Morningstar. It was that was the collaboration between Shane from Delirium and Larry from Bloodletting, and they did that combined press that did those massive $175 limited edition books, and that's the only one I ever bought. That's the most expensive book I ever bought, $175. I read it though. I was like, I'm not gonna spend this much and not fucking read the thing, but They did that one. They did Haunter of the Threshold. They did Keen's book. Darkness on the Edge of Town. And they were talking about doing a sequel.
That was my first Keen.
What, Darkness on the Edge of Town? Nice. They were talking about doing before they went under, they were talking about doing a sequel. They were going to get Garton to write a sequel to the new Neighbor, which would have been fantastic because that is one of his most underrated books. I love that book. Succubus book. Fucking great. Read it if you haven't read it. It's so good.
Cool.
But yeah, that would have been cool. See, I love nerding out about old hardcovers. I love that shit. I don't get to do it very often, but I love it.
Well, I'm older than both of you, so I've sort of ridden the horror waves.
Yeah.
And back in the day when I was younger, I didn't pay attention to publishers or anything. I couldn't even tell you if they were small press publishers back when I was a kid. I would just go to the bookstore. I was going to Walden's and picking up, Stephen King or Robert R. McCammon. The only thing that I paid attention to was the Abyss line from Dell.
Oh,
I think it was.
Dell Abyss, yep.
And then when The Rising came out in paperback, there was a borders between where I worked and where I lived, I went 2 or 3 times a week, and I always went Tuesday because that was new book day. The day The Rising came out in paperback, I'd never heard of this Brian Keene guy, and I would always go sit down somewhere and like read the first chapter before I decided if I was going to buy. And I grabbed that, and I started paying attention to Leisure. And I knew they had 2 horror books every month, and I'm looking at what they are. And I found a lot of great authors. And then I got on, I finally, I got a computer and got online to look up this Brian Keene guy, joined Horror Mall.
Yep. Hell yeah.
I remember that.
Hell yeah. Horror Mall and the Haunt. Yep.
And started learning about small presses and limited editions and all these other things. We actually, on the Haunt, we had a weekly group. Every Saturday night, a bunch of us would get together on the forum and chat. We started a book club and would actually have, we'd read a book, and then we'd have a date that we would discuss it, and then the next day we'd have the author come on and discuss it with us.
I was just trying to find my
Oh, that's cool.
Horror Mall Haunt bookmark that I had. I still have the damn thing. I didn't think the Haunt lasted that long. I was on there for like a week, and then I feel like it disappeared after like a couple of weeks. I don't think it was there too long.
I don't. They all start to run together.
Yeah.
There was a lot of drama, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of presses that came and went.
Drama in the small press?
No, it's crazy.
No.
Gosh, social media drama? No way.
And I will say, my prize Jack Ketchum is I got to meet him we have a local convention called Cinema Wasteland.
Oh yeah, God, I've always wanted to go to that.
And it's half an hour away from me.
Okay.
And he was there, and I got him to sign, as much as he hated it, the cheerleader cover of The Girl Next Door.
That's
funny.
Fantastic.
He was not really happy about. I mean, he wasn't. He was a wonderful man.
Yeah.
But he was like, oh, this cover again.
I unfortunately never got to meet him. I'm so upset about that. He's just one of my heroes, and I never got to meet him. It just bums me out.
I think he signed I'm Not Sam, and he had these.
That's a great book.
Yeah, he had these copies that I bought. He had, like mimeograph for us old people, but printed out Offspring book with his notes for turning it into a screenplay.
Oh.
And then the screenplay with the notes.
Yeah, because they didn't do an off-season movie, but they did an off-spring movie. I actually have that. Yeah. It's weird, because I knew, like, the rights or something for off-season, like, were just in perpetuity. Like, they just never got made, but then the rights for Offspring were just available. He was like, if you want to make this, go for it. They did, and they actually used the same actress that played the main cannibal girl from that, and she replayed her same part in the Woman movie. So yeah.
And then she made the third one that I can't think of the name of.
There was a third one?
She made. I don't know how official it is, but she made a movie about the girl that she rescues that she rescues at the end of The Woman. Grown up now. And she's in it as the woman.
So there was a book. There was a shorter, like a novelette that Ketchum and Lucky McKee wrote called Cow, I think.
Okay.
And I know that was in the Cemetery Dance version of The Woman. So I wonder if maybe it was that, because I know that had to do with that, but I never did. I never did have that version, so I didn't get to read it.
I have to look this up. Pollyanna McIntosh. I could not think of her name. I think I got to interview her on one of the podcasts that I was on. So let's see if I look her up. And then I know this is thrilling for people watching me on my phone, but I got to know. I had
to send a message to my wife too, so it's okay.
All right, so she's director of Darlin is what it's called. And it says, well, on IMDb, the description just says a direct sequel to 2011's The Woman.
Was Lucky McKee involved in that?
Director Pollyanna McIntosh. nope, don't click on that. Writers, well, it says Jack Ketchum based on characters created by.
Yeah.
Pollyanna McIntosh, Lucky McKee based on characters created by. But
interesting.
Yeah, so The Woman made a sequel to The Woman.
I liked The Woman. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it.
Oh, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I read the book before I saw the movie. I can't recall, but I like both. I'm a Lucky McKee fan.
Yeah. I think Ketchum had some pretty good.
Yeah, May's awesome.
What's it?
May is awesome.
May is one of my favorites.
I actually haven't seen May. I know. I think Ketchum got very lucky with his no pun intended. He got very lucky with his adaptations of his books into movies. I mean, I think Red is my absolute favorite Ketchum book. But the movie for Red with Brian Cox is fantastic. It is 100% the book. It is so good. I love that movie.
Ketchum has a cameo in that, right?
Yeah, he does.
The bartender.
Plays the bartender. Yeah. Yep, plays the bartender.
But I always say Brian Cox is my Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Manhunter. Yeah.
I love Brian Cox. He's so great. He's so underrated. He's so good.
Excuse me. Well, there's what's the Ketchum book about the guy that puts the tin cans in his shoes?
Oh, The Lost.
Oh, The Lost. The Lost is I think that's like probably one of the best books ever.
Which,
like,
wasn't that made into a movie as well?
Yeah.
By the director of I Know Who Killed Me with Lindsay Lohan.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I love that you know that.
I know lots of weird stuff.
Oh, man.
There's a double feature for you.
Yeah, there you
go. Yes, Ketchum. Wonderful meeting him. I miss going to conventions. You know, it's been a couple of years at this point, or at least a year and a half.
I've still been regularly doing conventions now, especially now that I'm all vaxxed up. But I've this year 2021 is going to be the most shows I've ever done. I think I'm not mistaken, I think it's up to like 15 shows this year. It's insane. Like I'm doing one next weekend in Monroeville, PA at the Monroeville Mall where Dawn of the Dead was shot. Yeah, so it's Living Dead weekend. But yeah, I'm all over the place this year. I love doing cons so much. Last year was so hard, and this year I'm like making up for it tenfold. So,
you're not that far from Cinema Wasteland.
I know. I've thought about it, but I've always wondered if like I've kind of talked to people that have been to it, and some people that kind of know a little bit more about it than I do, and they say like it might not be the crowd for like selling books because it seems like people there are like.
Well, see, I would say come as a guest.
Yeah, well,
I was surprised that Jack Ketchum was there.
Yeah,
at all, because it is mainly, I mean, it is Cinema Wasteland, so it is mainly movies. I think he was there because there was a short film based on something of his that was showing there or premiering there. Don't remember what it was. I feel like it was The Box.
Did they do a short film on The Box?
I think so, yeah.
I never did see that. Okay.
I don't remember now. It's been a few years. But yeah, occasionally there will be an author there.
Cool.
At the table. But it's a great time if you're into the horror movies.
Yeah.
Tom Sullivan, who did the effects on Evil Dead.
Okay.
Nice. Has the Evil Dead Museum there at every show.
Oh, nice.
And he even did, back in the day, they had these, I don't know if you ever saw Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials. They were these books that had illustrations and biographies, almost like encyclopedias, of aliens from fiction, from literature. And they made, I don't know if it was the same publisher, but they essentially made the same thing with Lovecraftian creatures. And Tom Sullivan did all the artwork. So he has prints for sale and stuff. But I think 3 times that I've been there at Cinema Wasteland, they've screened Evil Dead with live commentary, which is
Nice.
just fantastic. They had Tom Sullivan did it by himself the one time. One time I saw they had the three women from there's three women in that movie.
Three, yeah.
It's been a while. All three of them were there, and Tom doing live commentary.
Nice.
And then the one time they had everybody except Bruce Campbell, unfortunately, doing live. So there's some great stuff. Charles Band did his live show there one time. I'm a huge fan of full moon movies.
I am too.
So again, even if you're not getting a table, come on out, and it's a fun time.
I need to get out to Ohio. I badly want to do Horror Hound in Cincinnati. I want to do Horror Hound Cincinnati so bad, but I know it's like if I know it's next to impossible to get a vendor table there if you haven't been vending with them for like the last 20 years. So I don't know. I gotta figure out do something terrible to get a table at that show, because that show is like one of the biggest in the country.
Well, I've been to a Horror Hound in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been to several of those.
That's when Sam Hain had a table.
Yep, I remember that. And John Everson and Jans and
yep.
Shit, I'm blanking. There's a few other guys. They were all like in a weird little
Bernstein.
Yeah.
I got to meet all those guys. John has killed me in a book. I did some beta reading for him. And he killed
John Everson.
Yeah,
he's cool. A nice guy. I met him years ago at a book signing that he did at I think it was a Barnes and Noble in Louisville, Kentucky. Super nice guy. I brought him this big stack of books of his. He was like, "Holy crap, this is so cool!" Yeah, I remember that.
That was great.
Yeah, he's a good writer.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Horror Hound in Cincinnati, it was after Sam Hain. I don't think they were quite gone yet, but they weren't putting up a table. Mm-hmm. And Glenn Rolfe, just on his own dime, came out and was like, he texted me, he's like, I'm here now, let's meet up. And I bought
I like Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn's a good dude.
From him. Yeah. And we hung out for a while, and then he had like a backpack full of books that he was just kind of selling.
That's great.
Yeah, that was I miss that stuff.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, one of the people that I've podcasted with, works for Horror Hound.
Mm.
She writes for the magazine, and then she always works the convention. So I've got a little bit of an in sometimes.
Yeah, conventions they're on their way back now. They're just about back in full force, and it's a good thing. It's good to get out and see people, and I have so much fun at these shows, selling books and meeting new readers, and I love doing them. They're a blast. Plus, I love to travel. Like I'm a travel nut. Like I love to travel. Like next month, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Williamsburg, Virginia for Scares of Care, and then I'm doing Minneapolis in September, and Tulsa, Oklahoma in November, and Lexington, Kentucky, and Boston, and just all over the place. Like I love it. I love doing it.
Right now, Scares of the Care is the one that I've got to get to that sometime.
Oh, you should. You should come out this year. It's going to be great. It's a blast. Scares of Care is one I do every year. I've been doing it for years. It feels like a big family reunion every year. All the authors there know each other. They're friends. Everybody hangs out. It's so much fun. I love Scares. It's like a big family reunion. It's great.
Mike Lombardo keeps getting on my case about it. I need to get there, but it's always a matter of getting time off from work, having the vacation time, and of course having money. But I need to stop buying all my books. Save a little bit of that to take to Scares the Care.
And then buy all the books there, Yes.
Yeah, that's how it works, man.
Yep.
We had one, I don't know if they still do it, down in Columbus, Context, I believe.
I've heard of that, yeah.
I
think
that's a little bit
sci-fi.
What's that?
Isn't it a little bit more like sci-fi fantasy, I think?
Well, I found out about it the year after Brian Keene was there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but when I did go, I was hanging out with Gene O'Neill, Gord Rollo. I met Gina Rinaldi there, and the Grindhouse crew. So yeah, I think Christopher Golden was there the one time. It was a mix.
Brombeck there?
What's that?
Was Brombeck there? I know he lives in the Columbus area, so.
Yeah, was he? I can't remember if it was him or Tim Wagner.
Tim Wagner lives out there too, yeah.
That was
I
supposed
think he
to.
lives out by Dayton.
Like, I was told I can't remember which one it was, that it was like he's not here officially, but he usually just shows up and hangs out,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Keelan Patrick Burke lives in Columbus too, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't remember if he was there. And this was years ago. Like I said, it was right after Brian Keane had been there. I don't remember what book he had coming out at the time, but it was definitely quite some time ago.
Yeah.
What about you? You haven't jumped in on the convention.
Yeah, I don't get out to
Conversation here.
many. I don't get out to many conventions. I'm very much a homebody. I go to KillerCon a lot because it's
Yeah.
here.
KillerCon's amazing.
KillerCon's great. It was virtual last year. It's unfortunately going to be virtual again this year, but it's still going to be a good time. And I'm not just saying that because I'm helping Planet.
That would be my number 2 after Scares the Care.
Oh man, KillerCon. I've only done one KillerCon. It was 2 years ago in 2019, and oh man, it's so much fun. That was the best show I've ever done. It was so much fun. And I'm not talking about selling books. I'm talking about just being around
hanging
peers
out. It's
hanging
more
out.
of a hangout. Yeah.
Fucking great. I am dying to do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus the
That's
food.
what-
Plus the
Made some
food
good
down
friends
man.
there.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing I find is, aside from, you're buying stuff, or in your case you're selling stuff, it's the hanging out.
Mhm.
It's that
Yeah.
downtime for me.
Sure.
That's a good time. We were, I think it was at Indianapolis at Horror Hound. When we would take a break, we'd go down into the lobby, get a table. We're playing cards. I have board games, my other obsession.
Cool.
So I had some like horror card games that we were just sitting at the table playing and chatting. People are walking by, we're talking to folks, and yeah, if it's a well-run convention, I think it's always a good time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I don't want to keep you guys well, I do want to keep you guys forever, but I'm not going to. So is there anything else either one of you would like to mention, bring up, discuss, remind people of?
No, just just keep that date in mind. August 3rd, that book, The Final Gate, will be out. And I don't know, this is the first interview we're doing on the podcast blog tour, for The Final Gate. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you,
This is
man.
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think I've told you on Twitter before, but that background you got there is just wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Marvel Zombies.
Marvel Zombies t-shirt quilt.
Nice.
Those were all, my mother actually made that.
That is a wonderful mother.
A bunch of t-shirts that I had, and they got a little torn up at work in the factory, and instead of throwing them away, let's make a quilt.
Oh,
Hell
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Hell yeah.
My oldest kid is obsessed with Venom right now. Just obsessed.
Did he pick up the 200th issue? That just came out?
He's a little young for that.
Oh.
He's turning 5 next month.
Okay.
But
Well, have you let him see the movie, or is that too young?
Yeah, it's a little scary for him. I don't know. I'm a little. I get nervous about that, But I'll show.
What were you watching? What were you watching when you were 5? Come on.
I don't really remember much beyond my first horror movie, which was Silver Bullet. I was 6 years old. I don't remember anything I watched before that, because once I saw that, everything changed.
I always remember watching horror movies. We had on Friday nights we had Big Chuck and Houlihan, which became Big Chuck and Little John, and they showed
horror hosts.
Films.
Oh wow!
What's that?
Horror hosts, man.
Universal Films, Hammer Films. Occasionally they'd do a spread of like 4 Sherlock Holmes in a row or something like that. But
hey, the Hound of the Baskervilles one was pretty spooky.
Yeah, but that's what I grew up with that. And then on Saturday afternoons we had Superhost. His was a little more sci-fi, like The Blob, Invaders from Outer Space, that kind of stuff.
I like that stuff too.
I mean, that's those are my earliest movie memories, is watching that stuff.
That's kind of how it was with me. I remember my dad introducing me to Phantasm. I think Phantasm was the first, like, maybe one of the first horror films I ever saw. But I remember staying up and watching Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs, and then watching Up All Night on USA with Gilbert Gottfried and stuff. I just remember Joe Bob always playing like Motel Hell and stuff like that all the time. I remember Motel Hell very well. That, and he would always play the 1990 Night of the Living Dead a lot. And I still love that movie. I think that movie is so underrated. I love the remake. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Tony Todd's performance in that movie is just amazing.
Oh, Tony Todd's performance in everything is. Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Absolutely.
I remember Joe Bob's drive-in movie reviews being printed in our local paper. That was my first taste of Joe Bob, was reading his drive-in reviews.
Nice.
Which I absolutely loved. I don't have Shudder, and I'm always on the cusp.
Worth every penny. Like I don't work for Shudder, but I will say that anyway. It is, you need to get Shudder.
Like, Shudder's pretty great.
If I ever have the choice between reading and watching something, I always pick reading.
No, that's
good too. There needs to be more people like you.
Almost always pick reading. At the beginning of the pandemic, Scream Factory had a sale, and I bought a ton of movies from Scream Factory. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've watched one of them yet. Yeah. Most of them are movies I've already seen. It's just I wanted a nice copy, but I'm almost always reading instead of watching stuff. Although that does, I think Wesley, what's wrong with Loki?
I am a massive MCU fan. I'm not a comic book guy, but I'm a massive MCU fan. Loki is just not doing it for me. I've never been like, I never had a big hard on for Loki like everybody else does. I like the character. I don't love him. I kind of consider Infinity War to be his final movie. I liked his arc up until then. I liked the fact that he died, and I felt like that was the end of that character, and that was fine. But the show is just, I don't know, the show's not doing it for me. I hope the last 3 episodes will do something for me, but so far, like, I watched the new one last night, and I was just like, ugh, this isn't doing anything for me. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of over the character. We've had him for 12 years. I'm just like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm over the character.
Do you watch this stuff, Lucas?
A little. I do like Marvel. I don't watch a lot of them just because they're kind of everywhere, and I just get a little overwhelmed. Yeah. And but I do love the Guardians movies a lot, and I liked Infinity War and Endgame quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And then I like Doctor Strange just because it's basically just a magician, as a superhero, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yep, I already got my tickets for Black Widow. I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. That's going to be my first foray back into theaters.
I've been back to the theater like 4 times since everything. So last October, I saw in a theater by myself, in a massive theater by myself, I saw the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, and it was
nice,
so good. God, it was so good. And then I saw that movie Nobody. God, yes, it was so good. In fact, that just came out to buy this week. I need to go out and buy it because that movie is fantastic.
On physical?
Yes.
DVD, yes. Blu-ray? Oh, I'm picking that up.
Yep, for sure. And then Quiet Place, Part 2, a month ago, I think now. And that was excellent. So, yeah. Yep.
Well, Black Widow has one of my favorite characters in it, and hopefully they'll do him justice. Taskmaster is one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's the whole photographic reflexes thing to me is fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good. The early reviews are just saying that it's that kind of I don't know how to say it. Like they're saying like it's right on that level with like Captain America: Winter Soldier, which in my opinion is a top tier Marvel movie. That movie is phenomenal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to Shang-Chi a little bit more.
Yeah, that's...
He would be top 5 favorites any comic book character for me. I just absolutely loved that back in the day.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be good too.
All right. Where can people? We'll start with Wesley this time. Where can people find you on social media?
Oh, I'm on.
If you want
I'm
them
on,
to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm good. I'm on all Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Wesley Southard or Wes Southard. Website wesleysouthard.com. I'm very, very easy to find. If you need to find me, I'm there.
Yeah.
Lucas, do you want to share?
Yeah. I kid. You can find me on Twitter at real Lucas Mangum, or on Instagram at real AF Lucas Mangum, because I'm real as fuck. And lucasmangum.com, where I was blogging every day, but then my daughter was born a few months ago, and I just have not been able to keep it up since then.
All right, great. All right, well, I'm going to do my outro here. If you guys
buy Lucas's new book.
Oh
yes.
Yeah. See, I don't have that one yet.
Get that new book.
Oh,
get it directly from him.
Yeah, American Garbage. Copy. You can get it directly from me. There's a link in my Twitter profile. And yeah, it's limited to 200 copies. And it's not a horror book. It's a coming of age about dudes in a band, bunch of burnouts trying to hold their shit together and not succeeding.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my outro. If you guys could stick around for just a minute after I stop recording. So let's see. What do I say at the end of these things? To you viewers, if you have any comments, leave them in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you once again to Wesley and Lucas. And
thank you.
I think that covered everything. So until next time, people, read more books. And let's